Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be creating this awesome design. So let's get started. So we're here on Photoshop. I'm going to create and let's change this name to design. You can give it whatever name you want. I'm going to set the width to 2036 and the height to 2391 pixels. I'm setting it to portrait and the resolution is 300. So the background color, I'm not going to use a background color because I'm going to have my background image replace that. So all of these other settings is fine, and let's click create. So we're here with our new documents created, and we're going to import our files. All the files needed for this design are in this folder. First, I'm going to drag in our model. So we have our model in, and let me select subject, try to take our model out of the background. So I'm going to select subject, so it automatically selects the model, but we're still going to make some adjustments if the selection mask is not properly selected. Okay, so here we are, and we can see that some of the marks inside here, they're not added to our model selection, and this part of the model is not added, so we're going to add all of that right now. So let me increase our brush size because it's currently set to 3, and you can also increase it by holding down Alt and right clicking to visually increase that. So I'm just going to click and drag all of this portion. So let's zoom in to have a closer look. And let's add this to the selection tool. So depending on the image you're making use of, you want to manually just add all of these selections to your model, just in case it's not neatly selected. So just give me some time while I try to refine all of this. Okay, so we're done with our selection, and you can see that we have our model nicely selected. So we're going to click on select and max. So we have it neatly cut out, and let's increase the smoothness. We want it to be, the edges to be smooth. So I think that's just all we need to do. So let's make it a new layer, and I OK that. So we have our model nicely cut out. We will not be needing the original file again, so we can just delete that. So I drag it to delete, or you can just click on this icon here to delete that. You can see we have our model neatly cut out. So I'm going to off the image layer for a while we have our design set up. So you can see now, just make sure that you have your snap set on, like snap should be ticked, and you can bring out your ruler by pressing Ctrl R, like Ctrl R, you bring it out. So we're going to just click from the ruler, drag. Now we want to get the midpoint. You can see once it snaps to the middle, it's going to snap to the middle there, so you leave it at that. Then you take and also snap to the middle. Now I want to take my ellipse tool and let's set our stroke size to something around 400. 400 should be fine. We want it to be very big. So we're going to click from the middle of our viewport here, and while clicking you're going to hold down Alt and Shift. So just click and drag, then hold down Alt and Shift to have a perfectly rounded circle. So let's just get a size that's something around this. Okay, this is fine. If it's too large, you can just hold the edge here and still hold down Alt and Shift and visually drag it in to scale it to the size you want. And when you're done, you can just confirm that transform. Okay, so let's take all of this away now. We don't need it again. We've been able to use them as our guide to create our perfectly rounded circle. So let's convert this layer here to rasterize layer. So right click on that layer and select rasterize. Then let's create a new layer. You come down, you see this plus icon, so you're going to select create a new layer. Now on the new layer we're going to select our brush tool. Now our brush size is going to be the gap between each segment. That's the brush size. So you can, if you want it to be closely in, you can reduce the brush size. If you want it to be far apart, you can just increase the brush size. But I'm going to set this to, leave this at 30, it's fine. Then come up here and you can see this butterfly, that's the symmetry. I'm going to select this and let's make use of the mandala symmetry. So I'm selecting this and let's have 8 sides. So just change that to 8 and okay. Now you can see that's divided our circle into, like, giving us this 8 segments. So let's just scale it up, increase, hold down Alt, make sure you're holding down Alt to have it scale from the middle. And you can hold down Shift also to make it evenly scale if your scale is not even. So I'm going to select this. Now we can see it's covering, the lines are covering our stroke. So let's just hold down Shift. You hold down Shift, select the top of the mandala symmetry, just one of it, select. Then still holding down Shift, select the middle. Then I'm going to right click on the thumbnail here. You come down to your layer manager here and right click on the thumbnail and select pixels. And that has given us this selection around that symmetry segments. You can see all of that. So let's just select the layer, drag it to delete it. Drag and delete. Then I'm going to press delete on the keyboard. That has just deleted the pixels on our stroke. So let's take away that symmetry now. We can just come back to symmetry and symmetry off. Then let's clear this selection. So you deselect. You can come to select and choose deselect. Alternatively, you can just press Ctrl D and that will take away all of that. Now you can see that it's been broken into 8 segments, like, but it's still one layer. If you come over here, you see the ellipse one, you see it's still one layer. So I'm going to make use of the polygon lasso tool here, have the layer selected, and let's click and drag just click here, then come down and click again. Okay, we want to be sure that you're not cutting through any of the segments, so just then come back and close our selection here. So I'm going to right click and select layer via cut, and that has given us a fresh layer here, so we can off. You see, I just cut out that portion of the layer. So we're going to do this for all the segments. Let me just do that again. Select the ellipse one. Now let's do it for the second layer, for the second segment I mean. Then right click and layer via cut. Now we have layer 2 here, so turn off layer 1, you see, and layer 2, then the rest of it is right here. So let me just take this all through and we'll back when I'm done. Okay, so now we're done with our cut, and we can see we have 8 different layers cut out. Okay, so for the first layer, I'm going to right click on it and let's say blend options. Now I'm going to add the stroke for the layer. Select on stroke, and we can see its size is here 8. So let's increase it to like okay, let's make it a 15. 15 is fine. And let's have an inner shadow. Just then let's just feather it a little bit, make it soft, just a little like that. So you can increase the size just to give it that and you can reduce the opacity small. Don't want it let's just say 80%. Okay, so you can okay this right now. Okay, let's add a drop shadow to that too. Okay, this is good. So let's okay it. So we're going to copy all of that effect right now. So say copy layer style and paste layer style, and then I just added all of that to our layers, all our layers. Now if we turn on this model layer, we will see that it's behind our segments. So let's just take it above where we want it to cut out from. Okay, so we have this layer 6. Okay, this is layer 7 and layer 8. We're going to delete these 2 layers because we don't want that there. We'll be creating a rectangle to fill that up. So let's have that's in between layer 4 and 5. Okay, you can see you have it like this. You want, okay, select the rectangle and going to click from here. We want to actually make use of the fill for this. Our fill color, let's set that to our fill color. Then let's take away the stroke. Don't want the stroke. So let's just come in and click and drag. Just want to have it straight out. Just come down. Lines. So we have this selected right now, the rectangle, and I'm going to right click it. Same thing we did before. Rasterize layer. Make it a rasterize layer. Then let's select our elliptical Mokwe tool and just hold down shift while creating a circle. I want to place it just above the rectangle and the segment. Okay, let it cut through. Actually, let's just cut through both layers from edge to edge. Okay, so I can right click on this selection and layer via cut. So I have that cut out right now, and delete that. Let's repeat. Let's do the same thing for the layer 6. You just want to use the previous cutout as a guide. So we're trying to make sure that it's okay. So we right click on that and there we are cut. Good. So I can delete this. Don't want it. Now we're going to add our stroke and fill. Now our stroke and shadow to the rectangle. Let's just copy the layer style here and just paste the layer style here. So have it like that. And we want the layer to be below the image. Good, like that. So now we can begin to bring in our files to complete the design for us. So for the first layer here, I'm going to open our folder and let's drag in the first model image here. You can see it's bigger than the segment. So I'm just going to scale it to size. So okay, that selection, and making sure that the model is just above the image, is just above the segment layer, which is the layer 1. I'm going to right click on it and create clipping marks. So let's repeat the same thing for just position these two. Let's repeat the same thing for the other segments. Bring in the second image. to size. Right, I click on the image and create clipping marks. Yeah, you want the layer 1 to be below the model's image because you want her above the layer 1. So I'm going to select the layer 1 and drag it below so she appears on top of that. So let's continue. Okay, so now we're done with adding the models on the segment. So let's bring in our lens, camera lens. And we're going to scale this down. Let's try to scale it to fit into the cutout there. And finally, let's bring in our background image. We have this. Now I'm going to just scale it to cover and take it down. Let's have this. Let's just have this. Yes. Okay, so we want to take our text. We're going to use the vertical type tool to place our text. So we're going to click there and let's change that. Let's reduce our font size. Let's make this bold. Nice. Okay, so there you have it. You've been able to create this design, and if you want to position your model to the left, if you feel it's too to the right, you can just click, select, drag, and position to the left so you don't okay, we can see that this image below here is that's image 5. So you can just scale to cover. Okay, so there you have it. You can just position your model the way you want and you got it done. So thank you for joining, and be sure to like, subscribe. If you have any difficulty while creating this design, you can leave it in the comment section and we'll be fixing that together. All right, thank you guys. See you next time. Bye for now.